Live from Studio 3B, it's the Pinky and the Brain Show.
The Pinky and the Brain, yeah, Pinky and the Brain. They started up a podcast so Jeremy can complain. They talk about their life, news, sports, and Twitter fights. Brandon's kinky, they're Pinky and the Brain, 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 brain. No!
What's up, podcasters? We are here recording on a motherfucking Friday night, and it feels so good. Mm-hmm. All right. So if you wonder why there's so much excitement here, one, it's because I'm not so hammered like I was last week, and I actually know what's going on.
Or the past 2 or 3 weeks.
Shh. But two, this is sort of a special episode for a couple of reasons. One, we have Buddy Josh. Say hello, Buddy Josh.
Well, hello.
He is guest co-hosting today, and we will get into why in just a moment. Producer Travis, how the hell are you?
Why is my mic so sticky? This is weird.
Well, that's Brandon's mic, and we'll get into that in just a moment.
I'm doing good.
All right, good. All right, so this is our 10th episode. I'd love to if we could have some fireworks explosions and cool sound effects, but we don't have the money for that sort of production around here, so we're just going to have to use our imaginations, all right? So why... Now, I am getting tired of saying this episode's going to be a little different, so I'm going to stop saying that. These are the things we do. We get drunk, we go to different locations and record, we do stupid shit, all this. So just understand, every episode is a little bit different, so I'm going to stop saying that. Mm-hmm. Tonight, what we have is the 10th episode special. However, Brandon could not make it tonight. He's off banging Cynthia or somebody. No, I'm sorry, Sylvia. Stacy, somebody.
Who knows?
Over in Virginia Beach
Shane.
or one of the Carolinas or I don't know where. But he might be joining us just in a couple minutes. We'll see. But anyway, so it's our 10th episode. Can you believe it? We made it to number 10.
I cannot believe that.
Happy anniversary, guys.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
All right. So even though Brandon couldn't be here physically, we still thought it would be fun to bring him in. So he's going to join us right now. So first of all, I have a question. Travis, where the hell did Brandon go?
Brandon, where are you going?
I gotta go shit my fucking brains out.
Oh, boy. Well, I don't think that's true. Brandon, do you know where you went?
I don't. Who does it? Who masturbates on their couch? I masturbate at the computer.
Well, now that you bring it up, who do you masturbate to? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I masturbate to the Golden Girls DVDs sitting there.
Like regular sex positions, you masturbate to them, or like throwing it in their tailpipe?
Well, I guess that depends on the definition of sodomy. Is it an object or is it a dick?
Well, Brandon, you don't masturbate with objects. That's for chicks. So your dick, how often do you play with it?
I'm not exaggerating when I would say I don't think I've ever masturbated and just came once in a day. Like never. Never.
Jesus, you are some sort of psycho.
I'm just a machine.
I don't know about a machine, but you are definitely nuts, motherfucker.
Here's the thing. You have a very good point. And to that point, I can't really tell you.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Brandon. We're going to move on with episode 10. Maybe we'll talk to you later, or probably not, but we'll see you next week, so it's all good. All right. So let's get into sort of, a little bit of what's been going on with us lately. Mm-hmm. But before we do that, we got Buddy Josh in here. Mm-hmm. He's a good friend. We needed somebody to fill in. He stepped up. So thank you for that.
Well, thank you for having me. It's you guys kind of popped my cherry when it comes to these podcasts. I had no idea. I thought they were a fruit.
Well,
so
your cherry or the podcast?
No, I thought a podcast was an actual fruit.
Oh, well,
so I Googled it and it's not a fruit.
Podcasts changed my life. Yep. They made the workday bearable. Many years ago, I came across.
Well, have you ever tried to talk a friend into listening to a podcast?
Or like anything. Like it's a podcast, a comedian, anything. It's like people are so resistant, even if you're like, this is some great shit, you need to listen to.
The first 3 minutes better be like the shit, or they're just going to turn it off and actually judge you.
That's absolutely correct. So, all right, well, I want to dive into just kind of what's been going on with us lately. First, I want to tell you about like the most satisfying car wreck I've ever seen in my life. Okay, I am leaving work. I make my way to the highway, and I'm on the exit ramp trying to merge in. All right, and there's this fucking douchebag in this beat up, I don't even know what, wearing like, you know, those like orange reflective things like highway workers wear in his beat up piece of crap truck. All right.
So he's not a worker. He's like wearing one of those, but he's.
Well, I mean, I assume he doesn't wear that out and about. So I assume he's like making his way home. I don't know, but like
he's probably the guy that moves the cones. I mean, let's break it down. He
might not even be that smart, and I'll tell you why here in just a second. So like, I've got my turn signal on. I'm trying to get over, and he's just not having it, not letting me do it. And mind you, we're not like blazing at 50. We're like 4 miles an hour. Like, if you're in the far right lane and people are merging in, the nice thing to do is like let the person in front of you in, not this fucking guy. No. He doesn't have time for this shit. So I trail back a little bit and cut in behind him because, somebody behind him's not a fucking douchebag. Not 10 seconds later, he just rams the car in front of him.
Oh, shit.
Smash! I almost hit him. I quickly get into the lane to the left of that, pull up, and laugh my fucking ass off at this fucking idiot. Because I can't explain to you what happened, why we were going at like I said, 3-4 miles an hour. I guess he was just staring into the sun like retards probably do, and just smash. And I just laughed my fucking ass off as I watched him and the poor bastard that he ran into try to work their way off the highway so they can talk about how stupid this fucking guy is.
Look at his flip phone and try and call 911.
This fucking idiot. Yeah. But you know what? Sometimes the sun shines on your day, and I just had the most peaceful, elegant, fantastic ride home from there on.
That's awesome.
So thank you, retard, and the reflective things that stared at the sun. All right, producer Travi, what the hell have you been up to this past week?
I mentioned that I was going to the lake, and I ended up, we ended up doing that, obviously. So we went with Ashley's parents.
All right, now first off, what lake?
Ozarks. So it's on the northwest part of the Ozarks. It's called like the Gravois or Gravis arm. I don't know.
Like Gravis Mills and all that?
Gravis Mills, yeah. Is that how you pronounce that? Okay.
I believe. I don't know.
So, dude,
I'm not French.
Yeah, I know. Are you sure? It's only like 2 hours and 20 minutes from door to door, and I live pretty far south, right? So it's pretty quick to get there. It's easy to get there. I mean, it was a good time. So,
and you said they have a house. They rented a house.
They rented a house for 5 days, and Ashley's brother brought his boat down, and he's got like a sport type boat, like a wakeboard type boat.
Very nice.
Nice.
So, dude, have you ever done that, like the wake surfing? Have you ever seen or done that?
I've tried, but as a heftier fella, it doesn't really work because I'm fat. Let's just come right on out and
not
say
so agile.
My mind thinks that I'm like 185, and my
bathroom scale says a whole nother story.
Absolutely. So getting up off of the water is not happening.
No.
Well,
so you get into it, or at least I did. I got into a habit like skiing. You think of being pulled behind a boat, like there's always tension on the rope. You're being pulled, but I just could not get over the fact that there is no tension, and you're like actually supposed to ride the wave of the wake, and that's like fucking hard.
Right.
So that's what they are all into, and that was a lot of fun. But besides that, it was basically just drinking all day and all night,
having fun,
boating.
Well, that's what the lake's all about.
Yeah,
the lake is it's just a blast every damn time.
Yeah,
and we'll be getting a little bit more into lake talk once we start talking about Josh and some of the shenanigans we've got into. But
that's what I kind of wanted to know was, sorry to interrupt you, Jeremy, but Josh had a story about how he met Jeremy, or like his first interaction with Jeremy, and I wanted everybody to hear this because this is pretty fucking funny.
Well, I mean, I kind of sum it up as Jeremy pretty much wanted to kiss me sober, but wanted to fight me after like 2 beers.
Why did he want to kiss you?
Well, because I'm a handsome motherfucker. I mean, and that is known worldwide. That's not a testament of my own. But he really did want to fight me after 2 beers in a Irish car bomb. And he would always try to talk me into the Irish car bomb. Like, like, here, come take this Irish car bomb because I want to fight
the
you.
devil. Like
this must have been during like the K-State days, right? Because that's when everybody was doing Irish car bombs, like 10 years ago, maybe 10.
This must have been.
I still do those. Yeah, and it's like 10 years later.
So this was like. So this must have been about around the time you first. Well, you started at Crawford a lot earlier. I started. You had already been there few years, right?
I've been there 21 years. That was probably.
So
we're probably like 12 years into.
I would have left there about 15 years ago.
Okay.
So this was even before that, though, right?
This was right around then.
Okay.
Because that's when I started hanging out with Josh,
right.
and then I joined this fantasy football league that we love so much that we
I just don't understand this
today with.
Because I really don't remember so much. Because you said I would stare at you from across the room, just like mean mugging you for no reason whatsoever.
After he wanted to kiss you.
Yeah, I mean, at first you would touch me, like physically touch me and hold me.
Maybe
and
you
shake
did.
Me from
maybe
side
you.
to side.
Maybe you skirted my advances, and then I got angry.
Well, then you would pass out standing up.
Well, that is.
This
true.
is probably where
that still happens.
Where you would forget the full fighting part.
I think this was about when that affliction started happening for me. That was right about the time it started.
Zero, then?
Well, I'm sorry?
Josh is patient zero? Like,
I mean, we're talking like the sombreros days, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Like, that's about the time it started for me.
Well, you could be patient zero. You could be the original...
The OG.
Nice. The one Jeremy wanted to both have
just
sex
don't
with
understand.
and fight at the same time.
Skull fucking.
Well, I'm for one am super happy that we got past all that,
right,
and became fast friends after the whole 6 months worth of me getting drunk and wanting to fight you.
Right. No, I mean it was fun because I was kind of an angrier fella, and then you would do some of the shit that you would do when you don't really remember it, but. And then all your friends would be like, "Oh, you don't want to fuck with him. You don't want to fuck with him." And I'm like, "Actually, I just want to push him down. I would like to just walk over and just push him down right now."
Well, the good news is I wouldn't have even remembered. It would have just snapped me out of it, and I would have thought I just fell. So that's okay. But
then we made a fantasy football trade, and everything was good. I mean, I think we.
What trade was that?
Who the hell must know?
Well, you've always tried to get Cam Newton off me.
Oh, stop. Cam wasn't even anywhere near the league when this all was going on.
You know what it was?
True.
It was Des Bryant.
Oh, he wasn't anywhere near the league either.
Really? Yeah,
Are you sure?
We're talking like LaDainian Tomlinson
10 years
days.
ago? How long have you been in
It
our
was
league?
Adrian Peterson because I took over the team.
You always
when he
had
first started.
You have that tramp stamp on the back of your
Oh, don't you?
thigh, which is weird. Everyone else gets them on their
don't
fucking
you
back.
Tell everyone about that. That's like my
But you
dark,
have it on your
dirty
thigh,
secret.
which is weird. I mean, but I don't judge. I do not judge you. I never have.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah. But AP and then on the other thigh was all day.
Well, it is all day. All day open for business, baby. Right above my butt crack.
But I would, I'm going to pick him up. I'm actually going to draft him. I would be more than happy to trade you.
All right. Well, so let's move on to we always try to tell a good, funny story. So since we haven't had you on before, let's try to tell a good one. And I think you've got a good one of us being at the Horny Toad.
Oh my God. I'm still fucking hungover from the Horny Toad. And I am not horny.
Nor a toad.
Nor a toad. But for some reason, well...
I remember the exact reason.
Well, the reason was Jaeger bombs. And
right, but why were we there doing Jaeger bombs?
We were watching the Chiefs game.
I thought we got down to the lake and the house wasn't ready yet, so we all went to that.
This was day number 2, so some way, my wife. It was a new. She was a new wife, not like I have old wives, but we were somewhat newly married, I guess. But she really hasn't been through the debauchery of
not the lake debauchery, right. Not with this many people.
No. But she loved the idea of having was it a mansion? Would you consider it a mansion?
I mean, it had it
had running water, which is fucking cool.
It had
me.
Like 5 bedrooms, 5 baths, and it was like
you
talking about that one that we stayed at?
Yeah.
Was I there for this trip?
I don't know. They all run together.
I don't remember.
But anyway, so we go up to the Horny Toad.
Yeah.
We're, I guess, watching a Chiefs. It must have been like a preseason game during the summer or something to that effect.
And so we were doing Jaeger bombs,
like,
which
not just you and
does.
I. Like we had at least, 6, 7 dudes up there.
Right. All the women left us.
Right.
And
they were smart to do so.
Correct. You know what? Jackie actually, when she dropped me off, because we all had to take separate cars and because there were so many guys or whatever, but when she dropped me off, she started like tearing up. And I was like, what is your problem? What's going on? And she was like, I don't know what you're about to get into. And
I just wish you'd look at me one time like you do that bottle of Jaeger.
So we go in, we're watching the Chiefs game. We didn't even make it to the Chiefs game before.
No. Okay. So I remember. So
the shots started lining up.
They had these crazy little contraptions of cups where there was it was a plastic cup, but it had a shot glass built into the middle.
It was
and the
made
outer
for
edge
us.
was Red Bull.
Right.
So they were easily stackable. So what we'd do is we'd order around for the table and then stack them up. Now we had them stacked up to the damn ceiling. Eventually, do you remember they came back and said, we're out of Jaeger. We're out of Jaeger. You've drank us out of Jaeger. And this was not a little hole in the wall bar. This is a mega bar down at the lake.
It's a big to do. But before we ran them out of Jaeger, we actually ran them out of those cups. So do you remember
they
started
asked us for some back?
Yeah, well, they started washing our own cups, and so I mean, we're all pretty well feeling pretty good. I think maybe someone ordered chips and salsa. I think that's all we ate all day. But out of the 8 guys, as the football game was over, I think it was Larry Johnson still the running back.
This is about that time,
right? And I don't think he did well. We were just having a freaking awesome time. We saw that there was another bar that we could see that a band was going, and we were all going to go
and
take a shower.
I can't for the life of me remember the name of that place, but I do know what you're talking about.
We were going to take a shower, and we were going to go to the next bar. Well, first we had to get our tab. Do you remember the tab?
I remember they printed it out on what looked like something that Moses would have brought.
I think it was a scroll of sorts.
Yes,
yeah.
like the waitress probably brought it over and it was still attached to the printer like 50 feet away.
Right. I'm not exaggerating. Everyone in the bar looked back at us like, oh shit. Like they were more afraid of what we were going to do when we got the tab as we were ourselves. But our tab was like $900. And
well, that's only about 150 average per person.
per person. But how do you run up a $900 tab and still stand and go, it wasn't as bad as I thought.
We've got listeners out in like California, some in New York. I'm not talking these were $12, $15 Jaeger bombs like you're used to.
No.
We're talking these were like $4 or $5 a piece.
I think there was a Jaeger bomb special, and that's what caught our eye. We're value buyers.
In that case, I would bet you they were like $4 a piece.
Probably, yeah. But I'm telling you, when you stacked them on the table, and when you're stacking, they're compacting on one another. So I mean, they're literally stacking like bowls. But they stood probably 8 foot tall off of our table. And it was
good times. Now, you know what that led to? This led to me doing something I've never done before, never done since, and I can't believe it's ever happened to me. And I'm not proud of this, but I'm going to tell it anyways.
I can say that this also happened to myself.
I waved the white flag. Yep. I went back. I puked and puked and puked. I woke up the next morning, puked and puked and puked. I got with Lennon, and I was like, Josh.
Well,
you don't seem to be having very much fun either. And we both decided, you know what? It might be best that we just get the fuck out of here.
We couldn't look each other in the eye. But you know who could look us in the eye? My wife, that was... we were 3 months pregnant at the time, and she knew it. And she couldn't have a single drop of alcohol. So do you think she wanted to be there? Absolutely not.
So this was like 7 years ago then?
This was okay. So this would have been 8 years ago.
8 years ago,
because they're 8 or 9. I don't know, fucking math. But my kids are 7.5.
Okay.
So yeah,
so about 8.5 years.
8.5 years ago, that probably would have taken place. But
so
she could not.
2010, roughly.
She packed our fucking bags and made our beds and shit. She was like, "Let's go, guys."
And I was like,
she was.
And the craziest part about this is, I happily left a day early. A place that I had we'd all dumped a shit ton of money on to be at. And alls I did, do you remember the ride home? And for anybody that doesn't know, it's roughly a 3-hour ride home. And these are like windy roads with a lot of bumps.
Roads. Yeah.
I just sat there the entire 3 hours concentrating on not throwing up. That's all I could do. We didn't stop for waters. We didn't stop for food.
Fuck no.
You dropped me off, and I believe I said what I always say at the end of trips like this is, it's been awesome.
Yeah.
It's been really fucking awesome. Don't call me for 2 fucking months.
And the lake is your favorite place. That's like your ultimate
Absolutely, because it's like
you to leave early.
It's like one of the only places left where total debauchery goes. Like cops don't really mess with you unless you're doing something really stupid.
Right.
Like everyone down there's down to have a good time.
So did you do the walk of shame like I did? Like everyone was fishing, everyone was floating.
Oh, I don't think I walked down there. No.
I don't think you did because
I don't
didn't
think
see
I
you
could
down
leave
there.
the damn bed until I went from the bed to your car. I think that was it because I was not.
I went down to the dock and I tried to muscle a beer, and I ended up throwing up on the other side where I was trying to, not have anyone look at me. But
well, all right,
that was awesome.
Well, we got into the lake, we got into some Chiefs, and funny we got into some Chiefs because we're going to talk a little bit more of that. But before we do that, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to, in between these segments, we're going to play you a little something that happened to us with Buddy Josh at a Chiefs game just a couple of years ago. So get ready for that, and we'll be right back.
4 looks into the nickel of the secondary. Hey, somebody has run out on the field. Some goofball in a hat and a red shirt. Now he takes off the shirt.
$40 parking can suck my dick.
He's running down the middle by the 50. He's at the 30. He's bare-chested and banging his chest.
Henry Wage gap is a myth.
Now he runs the opposite way. He runs at the 50. He runs at the 40. The guy is drunk, but there he goes. The 20. They're chasing him. They're not going to get him. Waving his arms, bare-chested. Somebody stop that man.
Here comes the blue coat.
Oh, they got him.
Here comes
They're coming
the blue
from the
coats.
left. Oh, and they tackle him at the 40-yard line.
You motherfuckers better bail me out.
Oh, that was the most exciting thing to happen tonight.
And we're back. And yeah, that happened. I mean, what the hell?
So did you actually get bailed out of jail?
It was 2 days later, and I will say this: the Jackson County Jail has a horrible.
It's a shit show. I've been there from a DUI.
You know what they
before,
can't do is rub out a fucking hamstring. I mean, I was running forever. That was horrible.
You know what? I know why you were there, Jeremy. It's because
I drove into a DUI checkpoint with my lights off.
Chris and I were in
Rookie mistake.
No,
car.
listen to why.
Yes.
This.
We were leaving like Westport or something. I don't know.
No.
Brookside?
What's that place? It's like in
Waldo.
It's like in Mission. Like it was like Lucky's or out that way. Like
whatever.
You take like
driving,
87th all the way down to like.
Okay, so we were driving
towards State Line.
Yeah,
basically.
that's right. And because we were coming south on State Line, and we're driving south. Jeremy's driving. I'm in shotgun. Chris is in the back, and we pull up into this DUI checkpoint.
No, to the gas station first. This is why my lights were off. I didn't turn them off.
Oh, okay.
I went into the gas station with them on. Somebody was like, that's shining right into the gas station, turned them off, and didn't bother to tell me.
Are
what
you
a
sure
damn
you
dirty trick.
No,
you didn't invent this part?
I'm dead serious about this.
Okay.
So when I come out, I'm not thinking, ooh, I need to turn them back on. I mean, why would I be driving with lights off?
Because
I mean,
you're hammered?
Yeah, but no, I'm
wasn't that hammered.
I think it was me, you, and Drake. So we can get an answer from this. And
Does anyone have a problem with the self
I don't trust
headlights?
them. I don't trust them.
Well, the reason why is because your dashboard lights up.
Right.
You can see headlights in front of you, but you have no taillights.
Right.
So you're going to get pulled over.
Well, it's supposed to be. They're supposed to change during the when it gets night. Your taillights are supposed to come on. But that's a good point, though. But like I remember driving, and I'm like, oh shit, there's your DUI checkpoint.
I mean, I would have got a DUI whether those lights were on or not.
And and none of us knew until
but he was mad.
Actually told us,
and he was mad.
Yeah, he's
obviously.
Like, so did you know your headlights aren't on? And we're like, what the hell? And then Chris and I had to fucking walk from like. Was like 95th Street
and Warnall
and State
or
Line
so
all the way to the Quick Trip, and we had to call Brad S. I won't say who's the last name. Him and his wife came and picked us up at like 2:00.
That's an alias.
Josh, not not buddy Josh here co-hosting, other buddy Josh, came and picked me up from the Jackson County Jail the next morning. That was a rough place to spend a night because
no shit.
I mean, like, it's nothing but like horrible concrete and crazy weirdos. Like, it's not a bunch of like just normal like Johnson County housewives and stuff getting put in there, but it's like creeps and like anyway. So let's before. Oh, producer Travis, you silly bastard! Almost spilling that Red Bull vodka.
I would never.
So before we knew that Josh was going to guest co-host, we knew that we wanted to bring him in for a beer segment. Why? Why, Josh? Why would we bring you, of all people, in for a beer segment?
Well, I've been working for a beer distributor for
over half your life.
20 plus years, yeah, absolutely. And I think that beer is awesome.
Beer is awesome. There's no arguments here.
I like beer.
Right.
Now, lately, it's crazy how we go through these different, like, little fads and phases and, like, spurts in this country over what we drink. Like, there was the drop shot phase in this country. There was the, hard alcohol phase. There was the, regular beer phase. And right now we're in a little bit of a craft beer phase. When I worked at Crawford with you, it was nothing but basically Anheuser products. We basically had all that and then a couple of fringe things. Like there was like some side things we would sell. Like I don't even remember what those would have been.
Red Wolf.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
The Michelob.
Right.
So Michelob was the craft beer phase or craze or whatever you want to call it probably started maybe about 10 years ago. Budweiser saw it coming. They tried to get...
It started, but didn't get really popular.
No, the last...
It took a while to build steam, right?
Well, if you think about it, we're actually on a 2-year downward spiral. Not a spiral, but it's starting to progress down. But,
gotcha.
So all these beer companies, these craft beer companies, are trying to reinvent themselves. So you're seeing... The hoppy beer companies that were out, the Sam Adams, the Sierra Nevadas, and those big dogs, they are basically trying to infuse their beer with fruit. They're trying to reinvent the wheel.
Sort of like the easy way out.
Well, they're just trying to reinvent the wheel. They knew that they got into the niche, and they're just trying to stay relevant with all these big bad beer companies, the Budweisers, the Coors Miller, even Boulevard was bought out by a Belgian company. So
correct.
But when it comes to craft beers, you got to kind of think of two different elements to craft beer. A lot of people are into the ABV, which is alcohol beverage volume, and then you're.
So give us an example, so that'll be like. Sort of like how wine is judged.
ABV is how fucked up you're going to get.
Right. So like a wine might have a 8% volume. So it's sort of like that, like
to be
how strong it is.
Wine, you're probably up there with the 13, 14, all that kind of thing. So yeah, basically, I mean, you'll get into the barley wines.
But it's
that
the
are up
strength,
there.
basically.
Yes, absolutely. And then the IBUs is the International Bitterness Unit. Dorky way of saying it. Basically, how much of a pine cone does it fucking taste like?
Right.
Truthfully, I'm not really much into the whole pine cone thing.
Well, there's guys out there like the higher the better because they think it shows some sort of masculinity.
There's
the higher
one
they can
that's
take
called
it, right?
Palate Wrecker that is off the.
And it's probably disgusting, right?
Oh, I couldn't imagine. I mean, I would assume that you would clean your tires with it, but it is what it is. People were seeking that out. They also got fucking either DUIs or but they just got tired of it.
But somewhere in the middle is where we can agree that there's been some really good beers made.
Oh, there's
right?
a ton of good beers out there. One of my favorites is Deschutes Fresh Squeeze. It's out of Oregon, Bend, Oregon, and it's only actually got 10 IBUs.
So, like, give us an example. What can we compare that to?
Okay, well...
So, its IBU was what again?
So, I guess the way I would base it on is Bud Light everyone knows Bud Light. That has a 10 IBU. So you're talking about
I'm guessing that's very low on the scale.
Easy drinking lager. I mean, you're going to just sit there and pound them with your buddies. Say Fresh Squeeze, which is one of the ones that I like. It's got a 60 IBU. So, in my opinion, you're probably going to drink 4, 6.
It's not something you're going to sit around and drink 12 of during some Chiefs games or some
you're going to pick
games.
up a 6-pack, and then you're going to just move on to.
It's something you mix in with your day.
Absolutely, yeah. So the 2 beers that I chose to bring to you guys tonight, and I'm really curious to see what you guys think. One is a Kansas City beer. It's from KC Beer Company. Obviously, here in Kansas City, Boulevard has a huge...
It's king.
It has a huge grip on the city. KC Beer Company is fairly new on the scene. I mean, they've been coming out with some pretty good beers for about 5 or 6 years. But
now, can I stop you right there real fast? One of the coolest sort of things to happen out of this craft beer craze is all the fucking breweries that have popped up. Like, they've popped up everywhere. Like, we'll go to, like, we'll do a family drunk day every once and again, and we'll just go downtown and we'll just have like an Uber take us from brewery to brewery. And it's like KC Beer Company, I'm almost positive, is one of the ones we stopped at
in Waldo area. Yeah, I mean, that one's they've revamped that.
And it's cool. You can go in, you can kind of see the operation a little bit. They got a bar, a bartender there, but they've also got shirts you can buy. They've got 6-packs, whatever.
Right.
So that's one of the coolest things that happen out of all this. All the, because little breweries are almost like mom and pop shops, and I love to, shop at that type of stuff. So, anyways, go ahead.
Right. So, KC Beer, they're trying to compete with a lot of the. Actually, you know what? They're actually on their own style. They actually do their own German style beers. They don't really mess with all the IPAs, that sort of thing. I mean, they are a lager,
like a niche thing.
Yeah, I mean,
they do what they do, and they try to do it the best they can.
It's kind of funny because they don't really try to conform to everybody else. Everyone else hopped on an IPA. Then when they started infusing their IPAs, they didn't do it.
They went the other direction.
They stuck with what they basically do and that sort of thing. So the only thing that they really did kind of want to compare with is Tank 7. Tank 7 is a monster in its own.
All right. Yeah, so this is what you were saying about this particular one. Is this is the one they made to go against that, right?
Right. So Tank 7 is a farm-style ale. This one's a dry hop farm-style ale. To compare the two, you've got Tank 7, which is 38 IBUs. DeBauer is the one that I brought to you guys tonight. That one is 37 IBUs. The only thing that they don't really compete with is the ABVs, the alcohol beverage volume. Either way, both of them are going to fuck you up. One has 8.5% ABV. The other one has 7.8. Where KC Beer kind of stands alone is you're probably going to buy that for $9.99 out there. You're going to spend $13.99, $14.99 on Tank 7.
Our buddy Brandon does this all the time for like 4-packs, and they're like $12.
Right. Well, they did switch to a 6-pack, and they jumped up from a $9.99 to a $13.99.
All right. How about without any further ado, let's try this thing.
Bring it on.
All right. Open that bad boy.
All right. Let me do it.
All right, Travis, I'm going to give you the first sip out of that.
That's really good.
Okay, so I went to Boulevardia this past year.
Mm-hmm.
And all they had was this kind of beer, like this style of stuff. Like, there was no light beer to be found, and I'm a light beer drinker. If they had this, I'd have loved it, because this is something you can drink at least 5 or 6 of on a hot day. The other ones, they're like, you get a few of them in you, and you're just like, I tap out.
Well, the way I feel about it, it's more flavor. I drink Stella. It's more flavor than a Stella, but it's not so much flavor that you can only drink like a couple of them. Like, it's like a good in between. I feel like you said, Jeremy, 5 or 6, that's probably good, like on an average.
And you can even mix them in between whatever your other favorite beer is. Have one every now and again.
That was really good.
The reason why I kind of prefer this style of beer is because I'm not much into the hoppiness, the pine cone taste, but a lot of those pine cone ones just really seem to sit on the back of my tongue.
You know what I think that's about? I think that's more about look at us instead of actually trying to make a good beer. They're trying to make the most highest percentage.
Right.
So we don't have time for that here on the Pinky and Brain Show.
Yeah,
we're not looking for the attention grabbers. We're looking for somebody that makes quality stuff.
Right.
And the KC Beer Company has definitely done that. And we're definitely going to have to give some of that to Brandon so he can see
I brought some extras.
What opposes to the Tank 7 that Brandon seems to love so much.
That beer is not even very cold, and that was still really
right.
good.
Well, actually, German-style beers are supposed to be tasted at that. I mean, that wasn't on purpose, but that's how they drink them.
Right. And then,
and the mouthfeel and the aroma.
Most people don't know this. The reason American beers are made to be ice cold, that's like what they all, like Coors Light, their whole thing is like, it's so ice cold that it'll freeze your nuts.
Right.
Like, it's because when you drink a cold beer, it makes your taste buds shrink. When your taste buds shrink, you can't absorb as much flavor. So they intentionally make beers that aren't supposed to have flavor, and they want you to drink them cold so you can almost not taste them. And that's why they say stuff like that tastes like water.
It's actually like a faux pas when it comes to beer geeks and shit like that. So, I mean, you don't want your beer to be too... Then it gets sharp and all kinds of shit.
Yeah.
So.
Well,
So what's like the perfect temperature then? Is there like a perfect temperature?
There is. Well, he would know. He knows the perfect temperature for kegs.
38 degrees is what you store it. Okay. You're supposed to serve at 32.
Okay.
So you want it ice cold, but you don't want it to freeze in the actual keg.
Right. Okay.
So there's some you get into like the cellaring of beer, which is totally geeking out. For my opinion, if you're going to hold a beer for an entire year just so you can taste it next year, that's not my kind of beer.
I might not even be alive next year. Who knows?
Well, yeah, there's no guarantees at all. But so I mean, there's all different kinds of beers, and different people prefer their beers to be what it was.
All right. Well, thank you so much for bringing this.
Absolutely.
Little bit to our show, because I do enjoy this. I enjoy talking about this. We're obviously a drunk podcast, so if you don't like this, I don't know, suggest you find a different podcast to listen to, because this is kind of what we do. But now what we're going to do next is we're bringing a new bit. We haven't done this one yet. It's called Unpopular Opinion, and I promise you we're going to come up with a better, more creative name than that, but that's all you're getting for now. And this is pretty self-explanatory. We bring unpopular opinions, such as burritos are overrated. Now, if you hold that opinion, then I'd like you to choke on one and die, because
I can't say that you can be trusted.
Right, because burritos, I'll say it right now, nobody loves pizza more than me. But a burrito is the best food you can eat just with your hands. And there's not even a close second.
I want to say, Jeremy, how you feel about this is how I feel about your underrated opinion.
Over unpopular opinion. There we go. We're a little drunk. We're going to let that slide. We were thinking, Travis, edit that out. Nah, fuck that. You get what you get with us.
Let it roll.
So we're letting it roll. What he meant to say was unpopular opinion, but you're going to have to stay tuned and hear that one, and that's what you're about to hear next, is my unpopular opinion. All right, unpopular opinion, and I'm going to kick this off with something sure to piss the masses off, and I truly do believe this. Producer Travis, you've known me a long time. This shouldn't be a shock to you. Cats are better than dogs, is my unpopular opinion.
That's so wrong. That is so wrong.
So are you banking, are you empty on testosterone, or?
See, dogs are so goddamn needy. Lick, lick, lick.
Have you
bark, bark, bark. I'm not interested. I've already got a kid to annoy me to no end. I don't need a dog also coming up and bothering me every fucking minute of the day.
Do you like your nipples scratched off, though? Or your testicles?
See, I've never had a cat that'll do that. See, cats are awesome because they leave you the fuck alone. Every now and again, they'll come sit with you. You can pet them for a minute, and then they go on their merry way. See, cats are what women should be like. Come over for a little petting action, and then get the fuck back out of here.
Right.
I mean, well, that's very similar too, because cats hate you just like our wives probably.
Absolutely. They want one thing. It's to be rubbed a little bit. You don't get fucking shit off of it, and then they go to the bedroom.
So if cats are your guys' wives and they hate me, I would say to you, dogs are what you wish your wives were. Somebody that loves you unconditionally.
That's a good point. But no. A dog is always happy to see you. A cat, no matter how much you think that cat likes you, that cat fucking hates you.
That cat will attack you in the middle of the night. If it has not,
if I
it's
die,
going to.
it will eat me. I don't care.
It will
about
trade
that.
you for one little kibble.
It's not looking at you. It's looking at your eyes.
Dogs are trash.
And how they want to eat your eyeballs.
Dogs are trash.
I don't know. I'm shocked that you're a cat person.
Why even have a pet if you're going to get a cat? That's what I want to know, because cats hate you and cats don't.
Why not get a fucking bird?
And it's almost
bird.
the same way.
Well,
a bird is worse than a dog.
A bird is exactly like a cat.
No.
Yeah.
No, cats give you great affection. Great affection, but only on a limited basis and only from time to time.
Tell me this. Why do cats always fucking throw up everywhere? It's like they're like drunk.
I don't know. So dogs can come and eat it?
Oh, that's disgusting.
And true. Has a cat ever humped your leg?
No, nor will I ever let it hump my leg. But it has tried to scratch my eyeballs out.
Yeah. I don't believe that.
Remember Joe's cat? Joe's cat,
like the 30-pound cat.
Yeah, that like basically, if you got near it, it just basically scratched you or tried to bite you. I feel like every cat that I have any kind of interaction with is exactly like Joe's cat.
See, now I'm going to say something that dog lovers say that I hate. Maybe you've just never had the right cat.
Maybe
and that's what what dogs lovers say. Like every dog I've ever had is trash, and I immediately regret having it. And then someone will say, "Oh, you just didn't get the right dog." Well, if only 1 out of every 74 dogs are awesome, then that's a pretty shitty batting average, wouldn't you say?
Well, only 1 out of 74 cats like you, so, you know.
I don't need to be loved.
25 years ago, I lived with my sister, and she had a cat, and we don't speak to this day because of the fucking cat. The cat's probably dead.
Well, I mean, I just don't know what to tell you. Cats are better than dogs, and that's the final word.
Roof, roof.
That is unpopular, that's for sure.
Yeah, I am voting against that.
All right, guys, that's all we have for you here tonight. I would love to thank you for joining us on episode 10. It's a 10. I mean, it's been fantastic.
This has been an absolute blast, man. I've been listening to you guys for 9 straight episodes, and you guys are all that's advertised.
Well, we would love to thank you for coming on, filling in. We would love to have you back. You know, we might start bringing you in even when Brandon's here, just because we had a good vibe tonight. It was a lot of fun.
It was
Should we
definitely
take a quick vote? Brandon or Josh?
Brandon or Josh?
I vote Brandon.
Let's tease that, and we're going to give you the results of that next week.
I don't have the stories that he's got.
Brandon, you get no vote in this, by the way. You've abstained.
For the first time in his life.
Oh, God. See, we don't need to get what we were just getting into right now.
Right.
We'll save that for a different day. But as I always end this with, it's been real. It's been fun. But it hasn't been real fun. Thanks for joining us. We love you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Pinky and the Brain Show. For more info, check out pinkyandthebrainshow.com.